Good morning, fourth graders. We are going to do a quick review of improper fractions. Notice how it's spelled. I-M-proper, not in-proper, improper. Now, improper fractions, the prefix I-M means not. Just like I-N means not, I-M also means not. And proper fractions are fractions where the numerator is smaller than the denominator. Numerator is smaller than the denominator. Improper fractions means that the numerator, so let's say 1/2, that would be a proper fraction because the numerator is smaller than the denominator. But if we had something like this, 3/2, this is an improper fraction. It's not a proper fraction. Doesn't mean it's incorrect. It means that it's not a proper fraction because the numerator is equal to or larger than the denominator. So this would also be an improper fraction because its denominator and numerator are equal. So unless your numerator is smaller, that's a proper fraction. An improper fraction is when your numerator is equal to your denominator or larger than your denominator. All right. Now, let's say you're given an improper fraction. Let's say you are given, and your final answer should never be left as an improper fraction unless the point of the assignment was turn this mixed number into an improper fraction, okay? Unless the directions tell you to leave a fraction improper, you always have to simplify it and turn it into a mixed number, which is what we're going to do right now. Let's say you were given 20/8. Now we know that this is an improper fraction because the numerator is larger than the denominator. So you have to convert it into a mixed number. Now we already talked, I'm going to put it down here, what a mixed number was. We've talked about that before. And a mixed number is a mixture of a fraction, a whole number, and a fraction. So this would be an example of a mixed number. 1 1/2. Okay? Well, how do you get something like this to be a mixed number? Because this is a correct way of leaving your final answer. You can leave your final answer and should leave your final answer as a mixed number that has the fraction part in simplest form. How do I get this format to become this format? Well, here's what you do. First thing you're going to remember, what you have to remember is the 3 ways we can read a fraction. We can say that, like say this fraction, let's say 1/2. We could say that 1/2 is just that, 1/2. We could also say it is 1 out of 2. We could also say it is 1 divided by, remember this, by 2. So that's the one we're going to use now. We're going to use this one now. You would choose one of these depending on the situation. And the one that works best for improper fractions is the numerator divided by, that's what this line means, the denominator. So in this case, it's going to be 20 divided by 8. So now oops, sorry, I put my 8 in the wrong place. My 8 doesn't go up there. My 8 goes over here. It's my divisor. So now what we have to do is we have to use what we remember from division. Where am I going to begin my answer? Will 8 go into 2? No, it will not. 2 is too small. Will 8 go into 20? Yes, it will. So my answer is going to begin over the 0 in 20. About how many times will 8 go into 20? About 20 divided by 8 is about what? If you said 2, you are correct. So I put my 2 over the 0. Does McDonald's, remember the whole, does McDonald's sell chicken burgers? So I just did divide. Now I'm going to do the times. Multiply. 2 times 8 16. Cell, subtract. 20 minus 16 is 4. Compare. Is 4 smaller than 8? Yes, it is. So I could bring down. But I don't have anything to bring down. So this is 8 remainder. I'm sorry, it's 2 remainder 4. 2 remainder 4. So now that you have this, I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller so it fits over here. 20 divided by 8. Okay, so now we're going to turn it into a mixed number. You've done the division. Everything that comes before the remainder, is your whole number. And you write it big. It should take up the whole line. Your fraction is going to take up a half a line. The whole thing, the 20 takes up half, then the line divides it, and the 8 takes up the bottom half. So this takes up one line, and this thing takes up the whole line too. So 2, it goes in 2 times. Well, the fraction part. This part, your remainder, becomes your numerator. And then you put it over your denominator. So now you have to say to yourself, is this in simplest form? So I'm going to move this division problem down here so that we have some room. And we have a 2 here with a remainder of 4 minus 16, 4. Okay, so I can erase this now so that we have more space. Now, the way we got our whole number was everything that comes before the remainder. So what if I had divided by 2 here? Well, then we would have had a 2-digit number. So if you have a 2-digit number, then you're going to have a 2-digit whole number. Everything that comes before the remainder becomes your whole number. Your remainder becomes your numerator, and you put it over your denominator. Now I have to say to myself, is this in simplest form? Is there a number that will go, besides 1, that will go into 4 evenly and also go into 8 evenly? Oh yeah, there's a couple of them. There's a couple of numbers because our factors of 4 are 1, 2, 1 times 4, and 2 times 2. So 1, 2, and 4. So it has to be one of these numbers. And we can't use 1. Well, we could use 2, but is 2 the biggest number? What are the factors of 8? The factors of 8 are 1 and 8 and 2 times 4. So what's the biggest number that will go into both 4 and 8 evenly? It can't be 8 because 8 won't go into 4. It's 4. If you said 4, you're right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to divide my numerator and my denominator by 4. When I do that, notice I'm including my equal signs. You have to keep putting those equal signs in. You bring over your whole number. You don't do anything to that. I'm only going to simplify the fraction part. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And remember what I told you before, if you have 1 as your numerator, your fraction is in simplest form. So I circle my answer. So 20 and 28 equals 2 1/2 when it's in simplest form. So first you do the division. 20 divided by 8. Your whole number part comes from everything that's before the remainder. Your remainder becomes the numerator, and you put it over your denominator. And then you ask yourself, is this in simplest form? If you've answered yes, you're done. But if it's not in simplest form, then you have to simplify it and put the final answer in simplest form. If your final answer is not in simplest form, you're going to lose a point or two. Okay?